Your Serene Highness, the great princes, like Your Serene Highness, are a constant inspiration for every ambitious soul to elevate itself in virtue.
Her brush was like a sacred tool. The soul of things with her becomes magical. The power of a giant in a woman's hand.
In 17th century Italy, a woman with a paintbrush was more than an anomaly. She was a defiance, a challenge to centuries of tradition. But Artemisia Gentileschi did more than defy. She redefined the art of her time. She turned her pain into power, her suffering into masterpieces, and her legacy is a force that continues to echo in every stroke of the brush today. Her canvas was a battlefield where she confronted the limits placed on her as a woman. Her art, raw, visceral, and unapologetically real, tells a story not just of survival, but of triumph over the forces that sought to silence her. Artemisia's brush was not just a tool of creation. It was her weapon, her voice, her defiance against a world that doubted her. Artemisia's journey wasn't easy. She faced adversity, violence, and a society that tried to restrict her. But her resilience turned the page on what it meant to be a female artist. From the dark shadows of 17th century Rome to the grand halls of Florence, her legacy endures, influencing generations of artists, women, and dreamers. She didn't just paint. She reshaped the very definition of what art could be. Artemisia Gentileschi's story is not just one of the past's. It's one that continues to inspire, to challenge, and to redefine what it means to create. Chapter 1. Artemisia Gentileschi's life and early artistic training. Born on 8th of July, 1593 in Rome, Artemisia Gentileschi was the daughter of Orazio Gentileschi, renowned painter who was heavily influenced by the dramatic style of Caravaggio. Raised in an artistic household, Artemisia was introduced to painting at an early age. As a young girl, she exhibited extraordinary talent, and her father quickly recognized her potential. Her early education in the arts was deeply shaped by her father's teachings, as well as the environment of creativity he fostered in his studio.
From the outset, Artemisia's talent was undeniable. Her father, aware of her extraordinary abilities, provided her with intensive training in the fundamentals of painting. She mastered techniques like perspective, anatomy, and the use of light and shadow, which were central to Caravaggio's revolutionary approach to art. By the time Artemisia was just 15 years old, she was already surpassing many of her male counterparts in both skill and expressive power.
Despite the limitations placed on women in the art world, Artemisia was fortunate to be able to train directly under her father, who provided her with a foundation in the technical aspects of painting that many male artists of the time could not even dream of. But it wasn't just technical proficiency that set Artemisia apart. It was her ability to imbue her work with emotional depth and psychological complexity, something that became evident in her early pieces. One of her first major works, Susanna and the Elders, 1610, was a bold statement in both subject and execution. While the biblical story of Susanna, falsely accused by two elderly men, had been depicted by countless artists before, Artemisia's interpretation was revolutionary. In traditional portrayals, Susanna is often shown as passive or compliant, a figure to be gazed upon by the male elders. However, Artemisia's Susanna is not submissive. She is visibly distressed, her body twisting away from the elder's lecherous advances. Artemisia captured the psychological turmoil of the young woman with striking realism, forcing the viewer to confront the gravity of the scene. With this early masterpiece, Artemisia was not only establishing her technical prowess, but also laying the foundation for a career defined by defiance, strength, and a unique vision of womanhood in a world dominated by men. She was already poised to become one of the most important and innovative artists of the Baroque period, and Susanna and the Elders was just the beginning of her extraordinary journey. Chapter 2. The Agostino Tassi Trial and its Impact on Her Art. In 1611, Artemisia Gentileschi's world was irrevocably altered. Agostino Tassi, a respected colleague of her father, assaulted her. The aftermath of this attack unfolded into one of the most notorious trials in art history, exposing the harsh legal and social limitations imposed on women in Renaissance Italy. It was a case that would not only alter her life but leave a profound impact on her art.
During the trial, Artemisia was subjected to torture, a cruel practice used to extract truthful testimony. The Sibyl, or thumbscrew torture, was employed, which placed her hands, the very instruments of her artistic talent, in grave jeopardy. She endured this torment without breaking, and her courage throughout the ordeal stands as a testament to her unwavering resolve.
The trial was not only a painful and humiliating chapter in Artemisia's life, but it also served as a public spectacle that underscored the vulnerability and powerlessness of women in a deeply patriarchal society. Tassi, the perpetrator, was convicted, but faced only a nominal punishment, a brief exile. Meanwhile, Artemisia's dignity and reputation were called into question at every turn. Her attacker's minor punishment contrasted starkly with the grueling ordeal she endured. But Artemisia refused to let this tragedy define her. Instead of retreating from the world, she channeled her experience into her art, using it as a wellspring of strength. In 1612, she relocated to Florence, a city known for its artistic vibrancy and the patronage of the Medici family. There, she found new opportunities to rebuild her career and thrive as an artist. Artemisia's experience with the Tassi trial, though harrowing, became a defining chapter of her life, one that influenced her artistic vision and ignited her pursuit of justice and female agency in her work. It was through this personal trauma that she forged the resilience and determination that would propel her to greatness in the world of art. Chapter 3. In-depth analysis of most iconic masterpieces. Judith slaying Holofernes. One of Artemisia Gentileschi's most iconic works, Judith slaying Holofernes, 1612–1613, powerfully captures the moment of victory and vengeance. This dramatic scene from the biblical story of Judith, a Jewish widow, who beheads the Assyrian general Holofernes to save her people, is painted with intense realism and emotional depth. What sets Artemisia's interpretation apart is her portrayal of Judith not as a passive victim, but as a fierce and determined woman, wielding a sword with strength and resolve. The composition is bold, with the figures almost larger than life, bringing an immediacy and rawness to the action. Judith's expression is focused and resolute, while her maidservant, who assists in holding Holofernes down, looks on with a mixture of fear and awe. The blood flowing from Holofernes' neck adds an element of horror, emphasizing the brutality of the moment. The use of light and shadow, a hallmark of Artemisia's style, heightens the drama, casting the scene in stark contrast and drawing attention to the violent yet triumphant act of Judith. Artemisia's personal experience of overcoming adversity is often said to be reflected in this painting, with Judith symbolizing her own strength and resilience. This painting was not just an artistic achievement, it was a statement of women's agency, power, and the ability to fight against overwhelming odds. It remains one of the most striking and powerful depictions of female empowerment in art history.
Her use of chiaroscuro, contrasting light and dark, creates an intense drama reminiscent of Caravaggio. But unlike Caravaggio, Artemisia's Judith is deeply personal, almost autobiographical. The sheer physicality of the act, with Judith straining to complete her task, subverts traditional representations of women in biblical scenes.
Self-portrait as the allegory of painting. Artemisia Gentileschi's self-portrait as the allegory of painting, 1638–1639, is a remarkable and bold declaration of her identity as an artist. In this painting, Artemisia does not simply depict herself. She presents herself as Pictura, the allegorical personification of painting. With her brush in hand, she gazes directly at the viewer, exuding confidence and mastery over her craft. The painting showcases Artemisia's self-awareness and self-promotion, a rare and courageous move for a woman artist in the 17th century. She is depicted in the act of painting, her attire draped in a way that suggests both authority and elegance, while her expression reflects a sense of determination. The presence of her brush and palette signals her control over her medium, positioning herself as the master of the art form she represents. This self-portrait was not just a reflection of Artemisia's artistic prowess, but also a statement about her role in the male-dominated art world. By choosing to represent herself as the embodiment of painting itself, she elevates her status and asserts her place in the artistic canon. The painting's bold composition, with the dramatic lighting and strong use of chiaroscuro, speaks to Artemisia's Baroque style, full of intensity and emotion. Self-portrait as the allegory of painting is a powerful symbol of Artemisia's defiance, self-assurance, and unyielding dedication to her craft, cementing her legacy as one of the most influential female artists in history. Lucretia. Artemisia Gentileschi's Lucretia, 1630s, is a haunting portrayal of both tragedy and strength. The painting depicts the Roman noblewoman Lucretia, who, after being violated by the son of a king, takes her own life to preserve her honor. Artemisia captures this pivotal moment with intense emotional depth, focusing not just on the act of self-inflicted violence, but on Lucretia's emotional turmoil and the devastating impact of her decision. In the composition, Lucretia is shown in a moment of reflection, poised with a dagger in her right hand. Her gaze is solemn, yet filled with a sense of determination and dignity. The stark contrast of light and dark, typical of Artemisia's Baroque style, heightens the drama of the scene, casting Lucretia in a spotlight while surrounding her with shadow. This chiaroscuro technique not only emphasizes the emotional weight of the moment, but also highlights the physical pain and internal conflict she endures. What makes Artemisia's version of Lucretia particularly powerful is her ability to humanize her subject. Rather than focusing solely on the violence of the act, she emphasizes Lucretia's agency and inner strength in her final moments. This portrayal challenges the traditional depictions of women as passive victims and instead presents Lucretia as a woman who, despite the horrific circumstances, retains control over her fate. Through Lucretia, Artemisia not only reinterprets a classic story, but also asserts a powerful message about the resilience of women, giving voice to their pain, anger, and courage. Chapter 4: Artemisia's Legacy and Influence on Art History. Artemisia Gentileschi's legacy continues to resonate strongly in the art world today, as her once overlooked works are now celebrated globally. Having overcome immense personal and societal challenges, Artemisia became a symbol of resilience, defying the limitations placed on her as a woman artist in the Baroque period. Her powerful depictions of women in positions of strength and agency, such as Judith slaying Holofernes and Susanna and the Elders, continue to inspire artists and art lovers alike. Her works now grace the walls of some of the world's most prestigious institutions, including the Uffizi Gallery in Florence, the Borghese Gallery in Rome, and the National Gallery in London, where they stand as a testament to her talent and groundbreaking approach to art. These pieces, once hidden in the shadows, now attract attention for their emotional depth, dramatic use of light, and vivid portrayal of women's agency. Artemisia's impact is also amplified by modern feminist movements, which have re-examined her life and work, shedding light on her contributions to the art world and her fight for recognition. Today, her story of overcoming personal adversity and societal constraints serves as an inspiration not only for women in the arts, but for anyone striving to break through barriers and leave a lasting impact. As her influence continues to grow, Artemisia's work remains a powerful force in shaping the future of art and redefining the narrative of female representation in history. Through struggle, pain, and defiance, Artemisia Gentileschi carved her name into history. She was not just a woman who painted, she was a force that changed art forever. In the next episode, we uncover the powerful legacy of Sofonisba Anguissa, the first woman to gain international recognition as an artist during the Renaissance. Her portraits broke boundaries, redefined women's roles in art, and laid the groundwork for generations of female artists. Her influence shaped the world, but her name faded from history. Stay tuned as we bring her story back to life. Thanks for watching.